ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a message that resonates deep within the hearts of those who have walked through struggles, trials, and tribulations, yet have emerged stronger, wiser, and more resolute than ever before. The question we often ask ourselves when facing difficulty is, why do those who seem the strongest, those who are called to rise higher, seem to endure the fiercest battles? Why do the women who carry the weight of this world on their shoulders seem to face such monumental challenges? The answer, my friends, lies in understanding the very nature of strength and purpose. You see, it is not a coincidence that God entrusts the toughest battles to those who possess the deepest reservoirs of strength. When we speak of strength, we do not refer to the kind of strength that is easily seen on the surface. The ability to lift the heaviest weights or to endure the longest hours. No, we speak of a divine strength, a strength that comes from within, one that is forged in the fire of adversity and refined through every struggle, setback, and hardship. This is a strength that cannot be manufactured by human hands, a strength that is birthed through perseverance, through resilience, and through the unwavering trust in a higher calling. When we look at the lives of many of the most influential women in history, we see the undeniable truth that their greatest strength was often born out of their greatest struggles. From the woman who silently carried the burdens of her family, to the warrior queen who led her people into battle, to the mother who stood at the cross of her son. These women did not just endure their battles, they overcame them. And in overcoming them, they became living testaments to the power of God's will. But why must such strength be tested through such harsh trials? Why must God's strongest daughters face the hardest of battles? The answer lies in the process of refining. Gold, when it is extracted from the earth, is not valuable in its raw form. It must be placed in the fire, subjected to intense heat to burn away the impurities that lie beneath the surface. Only then does it emerge, pure, radiant, and refined. And so it is with God's strongest women. In order to fulfill the purpose for which they have been created, they must first be refined. Their trials, their battles, their struggles, they are all part of the divine process that prepares them for greatness. You see, there is something about the human spirit that is deeply transformative when it is tested. The hardest battles, the darkest seasons do not break us. They shape us. They carve out of us a strength that we did not know we possessed. And God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that it is in these moments of intense pressure and hardship that His daughters can become vessels of divine power. When everything around us seems to be crumbling, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear, it is in those moments that we find ourselves drawing closer to the source of our strength. And as we draw closer, we are empowered in ways we could never have imagined. God's strongest women face the hardest battles because they are called to be leaders in a broken world. Leaders are not born in comfort and ease. They are forged in adversity. Leaders are those who stand tall when everything around them is falling apart. Leaders are those who inspire others to rise above their circumstances, to defy the odds, and to walk in faith even when the road ahead seems uncertain. And this is why the strongest women often face the hardest battles. They are being prepared to lead, to guide, and to help others navigate through their own storms. We must also understand that God does not test us beyond what we can bear. His strength is made perfect in our weakness. It is in our weakness, in our moments of vulnerability, that His power is most evident. We often think that strength means having it all together, never faltering, never showing signs of weakness. But in reality, true strength is displayed when we fall to our knees in prayer, when we surrender our struggles to God, and when we trust in His timing and His plan, even when we don't understand it. It is in these moments that we experience the miraculous, God's strongest women face the hardest battles because their purpose is too significant to be hindered by the trivialities of life. The enemy knows the power that lies within them. And so he seeks to distract, discourage, and defeat them before they can rise to the fullness of their potential. But what the enemy fails to realize is that every battle, every setback only strengthens their resolve. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every obstacle is a lesson in resilience. And as God's daughters rise from the ashes of their struggles, they do not rise as mere survivors. They rise as warriors, as leaders, as carriers of destiny. In every trial, God is shaping them, molding them, and positioning them for a greater purpose. Every challenge they face is not just for their own development, but for the advancement of His kingdom. God's strongest women are not just fighting for themselves. They are fighting for their families, their communities, and their nations. They are standing in the gap, interceding for those who cannot fight for themselves, and breaking chains that have held others in bondage for generations. Their battles are not just about personal victory. They are about the collective victory of all those whom they are called to lead and serve. And so, my friends, when you face the hardest battles, remember that it is a sign of the greatness that lies within you. You are not being tested because you are weak. You are being tested because you are strong. You are not being abandoned in your struggles. You are being refined, purged, and prepared for the great work that God has for you. His strongest women face the hardest battles because they are being equipped to carry the weight of their purpose and destiny. And in that, there is no greater honor. As you walk through the fire, remember that God is walking with you. As you face the giants, know that the power of the Almighty is within you. The battles may be hard, but the victory is sure. God has placed His hand upon you, and His calling upon your life is far greater than any obstacle you will ever face. So stand firm, hold fast, and trust in the process. For God's strongest women are destined to overcome, to lead, and to shine brighter than ever before. Strength is forged in adversity, not comfort. This truth is one that many of us tend to overlook, especially in a world that often equates success and power with ease and luxury. We live in a culture that celebrates comfort, convenience, and the avoidance of struggle. But the reality is that true strength does not come from a life of ease. In fact, it is in the moments of difficulty, pain, and struggle that strength is truly cultivated. When we face challenges, whether emotional, physical, or spiritual, we are forced to tap into resources within ourselves that we never knew existed. It is in the moments of hardship that we are compelled to dig deeper into our inner reservoirs of resilience, courage, and faith. Strength is not something that can be learned in comfort. It is a muscle that grows through resistance, much like how physical strength is developed in the gym through pushing against weight and overcoming obstacles. In the same way, the struggles we face serve as the weights that shape and strengthen our character, making us more capable and powerful. Think about the way gold is refined. In its raw form, gold is not particularly valuable. It needs to be placed in the fire, subjected to intense heat, to burn away the impurities and reveal its true beauty and worth. Similarly, in our own lives, it is the fire of adversity that purges us, removing the impurities and refining us into stronger, more valuable individuals. The process is not comfortable. It is painful, intense, and sometimes overwhelming. Yet without it, the strength that lies within us remains dormant. Comfort can lull us into complacency, and without the pressure of difficulty, we may never realize the depth of our own strength. It is only when we are tested that we discover the power we possess. These trials, rather than breaking us, build us up, preparing us for the greater work we are called to accomplish. In the midst of struggle, we are forced to confront our weaknesses, face our fears, and ultimately rise above them, emerging stronger and more capable than we were before. Trials refine and prepare God's strongest women for their purpose. It is not by accident that those called to greatness often find themselves facing the most difficult challenges. These trials are not a sign of abandonment, but a process of divine preparation. Every obstacle, every hardship, and every moment of struggle is a step in the journey toward the fulfillment of a greater purpose. Just as a sculptor shapes a masterpiece by chipping away at the stone, so too does God refine his daughters through life's trials, shaping them into the women they are destined to become. The refining process is not easy. It requires endurance, patience, and an unwavering belief that even in the midst of difficulty, there is a higher purpose at work. Many times, when faced with adversity, we may question our worth, our strength, or even our calling. But in these very moments, God is at work doing what we cannot see. He is stripping away the parts of us that no longer serve his purpose, refining our character and preparing us for the great responsibility that lies ahead. The trials we face help us develop qualities that are essential for fulfilling our purpose. Through hardship, we learn perseverance. When we experience loss, failure, or disappointment, we are taught to trust in God's timing and provision. When we face rejection or criticism, we learn humility and resilience. These qualities are not developed in a vacuum of comfort and security. They are birthed through adversity. Without the trials, we would not have the depth of character needed to navigate the challenges of leadership and influence. Moreover, trials allow us to recognize our dependence on God. When everything else falls away, when we are stripped of our own strength and resources, we are left with no choice but to rely on his power. This dependence is not weakness, rather it is the recognition that we were never meant to do life on our own. God's purpose for our lives is too great to be accomplished in our own strength. It is through our struggles that we come to understand that his strength is made perfect in our weakness. And it is in our brokenness that he can most powerfully work through us. Through every trial, God is shaping his daughters into instruments of his will, ready to walk boldly in the purpose he has designed for them. Hardships are opportunities for growth, not signs of weakness. In a world that often associates struggles with failure, it is important to reframe our perspective on hardship. Instead of viewing difficulties as barriers to our success or as proof of our inadequacies, we must begin to see them as stepping stones on the path to personal growth and spiritual maturity. Hardships are not the end of the journey. They are the very experiences that refine us, strengthen us, and build our character. It is in the midst of hardship that we are forced to confront the parts of ourselves we may otherwise avoid. When life is smooth, we can easily live on autopilot, unaware of the deeper work that needs to be done within us. But trials have a way of exposing our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses, and the areas where we need to grow. When we face adversity, we are presented with an opportunity to learn, to evolve, and to develop new skills and perspectives that we would not have gained in times of ease. These moments of difficulty push us beyond our comfort zones and invite us to grow in ways we never imagined. Moreover, hardships challenge our faith. It is easy to trust God when life is going well, but true faith is tested in the fire of adversity. When everything around us seems uncertain and the future appears unclear, our faith is stretched and strengthened. We are forced to rely on God's promises, trusting that he will provide, guide, and protect us even when the path is not visible. Hardships teach us to trust in God's timing, to lean not on our own understanding, and to believe that his plan for our lives is greater than the circumstances we face. This kind of faith does not come from smooth sailing. It comes from walking through storms and emerging stronger on the other side. Every hardship carries within it the potential for growth. Whether it is the development of patience in times of waiting, the cultivation of humility through setbacks, or the strengthening of resilience in the face of loss, hardship teaches us lessons that comfort never could. Through each challenge, we are being shaped into stronger, more capable individuals who are equipped to fulfill the purpose God has set before us. The very struggles that seem to weaken us are, in fact, the tools God uses to build us into the people we are meant to be. God's strongest women are called to lead and inspire in a broken world. Leadership in its truest form is not about power or recognition, but about service, sacrifice, and the ability to rise above the chaos to guide others toward hope and purpose. In a world often marked by pain, division, and uncertainty, it is the women who are strong in faith and character who are called to step into the gap and provide the light that others so desperately need. Their strength is not simply for their own benefit. It is a divine calling to lead others through the storms of life. In order to lead, one must first understand the depths of suffering. Leadership is not about standing on a pedestal untouched by the trials of life, but about walking alongside others, sharing in their burdens and helping them navigate their own struggles. God's strongest women know what it means to face difficulties, to endure hardship, and to rise above circumstances. It is from these very experiences that they gain the wisdom and compassion needed to inspire others. They lead not from a place of superiority, but from a place of shared understanding, offering guidance that is born out of their own journey through adversity. These women inspire because they embody resilience and hope. When the world tells us to give up, they are the ones who show us how to press on. They are not immune to the pain and challenges that life brings, but they refuse to be defined by them. Instead, they choose to see beyond the current circumstances and embrace the greater purpose God has for their lives. Their ability to persevere through the toughest times serves as a beacon of hope for others, demonstrating that no matter how dark the moment may seem, there is always a way through when we trust in God's plan. Moreover, God's strongest women are often called to lead in places and situations where others may fear to tread, whether it is in their families, their communities, or the world at large. They are positioned to make a difference where it is most needed. Their influence is not just in their words, but in their actions. Leading by example, showing others how to walk in faith, love, and strength. Their leadership is not about control, but about lifting others up, empowering them to discover their own strength, and pointing them toward the hope that lies in God's promises. Every battle strengthens their resolve and advances God's kingdom. It is in the face of hardship that God's strongest women are shaped into the powerful instruments He has called them to be. The challenges they face are not random or meaningless. Rather, they are part of a divine design that works to forge within them the resilience, faith, and courage necessary to accomplish God's will. Each struggle, each battle serves as an opportunity to not only grow stronger, but also to advance God's kingdom in ways that would not be possible without such trials. The battles women face are often deeply personal and intensely challenging, but it is in overcoming these struggles that they are prepared to fulfill the purpose God has placed on their lives. As they persevere through adversity, they learn to trust in God's provision and His timing. These experiences refine their character, making them more compassionate, more patient, and more able to empathize with the pain of others. Through each trial, God's strongest women develop a deep sense of resilience. A resilience that does not simply allow them to endure, but enables them to thrive, even in the midst of difficulty. This resolve is not just for their own benefit. It equips them to help others find hope and strength in the midst of their own battles. As they grow in strength, God's strongest women become powerful forces of influence within their families, communities, and beyond. The challenges they overcome serve as testimony to the faithfulness and power of God, and their ability to navigate hardship with grace and perseverance becomes a beacon of hope to those around them. Their personal victories become the foundation for helping others experience the same freedom, strength, and victory. Every battle they face gives them the authority and wisdom to help others in their struggles, empowering them to rise above their circumstances and walk confidently in their God-given purpose. Ultimately, each battle that a strong woman faces advances the kingdom of God by drawing others to the hope and power of His promises. When God's strongest women face challenges and emerge victorious, they not only demonstrate the truth of God's love and strength, but they also inspire others to pursue their own destinies. These victories are not just personal triumphs. They are kingdom victories that ripple out, touching the lives of many and furthering God's plan in the world. In conclusion, the journey of God's strongest women is one that reflects the beauty of resilience, purpose, and divine. It is through the trials they face that they are shaped, not just for their own growth, but for the larger work that God has called them to fulfill. Their strength is not a result of escaping difficulty, but rather of enduring through it with unwavering faith and a deep reliance on God's grace. The hardships they encounter are not signs of their weakness, but of their capacity to rise above the challenges, to shine even in the darkness, and to lead others through the storms of life. God's strongest women are called to face the hardest battles because they are the vessels He uses to advance His kingdom. It is through their perseverance, faith, and resilience that they become beacons of hope to others. The trials they undergo refine them, teaching them lessons that not only shape their character, but equip them to lead with compassion, wisdom, and strength. They are not just fighting for their own victories, but for the liberation and empowerment of others. In their struggles, they draw closer to God, deepening their trust in His plans and understanding the power of His presence in their lives. These women lead not by force, but by example, showing others that with God all things are possible. They inspire, empower, and uplift those around them, using their experiences of overcoming adversity as a testimony of God's faithfulness and love. Their journey is a powerful reminder that strength does not come from avoiding struggles, but from facing them head on with courage and faith. The battles they fight refine them and make them leaders who can stand firm in the face of adversity, guiding others with compassion and grace. In a broken world, these women are agents of change, bringing healing, hope, and transformation to their families, communities, and beyond. Each battle they face contributes to the greater purpose of advancing God's kingdom. Their victories are not only personal, but collective, impacting the lives of those they encounter. Through their lives, they show that the struggles we face are not meant to destroy us, but to build us into the people we were always meant to become: strong, resilient, compassionate, and filled with the power of God. God's strongest women are the ones who, after every battle, emerge not only victorious, but also more equipped to fulfill their purpose. They are living proof that God uses even the hardest of battles to refine us, strengthen us, and prepare us for the greater work ahead. Their journey is one of constant growth, transformation, and empowerment, a testimony of what is possible when we trust in God's process, even through the most challenging time. And as they continue to rise, they carry with them the power to lead others, to inspire hope, and to make a lasting impact on the world.